the last part of this video, we're going to talk about the 5 official gifts. So we had 9 spiritual supernatural gifts. We have 8 ministry gifts. That's 17. And then we add these 5 official gifts. And that adds to our total of 22 gifts. The official gifts are found in Ephesians chapter 4. And we're going to read those. Chapter 4, verse 11. And those gifts are apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher. And so we have these 5 official gifts. Now, the reason that I call these official gifts is because they are gifts of office. These are the official offices of the church. And so we have to understand them as such. These are not gifts that we can... in other words, these gifts require a calling. God has to call a person to these gifts. These are gifts of office. They don't, if you'll notice, they don't tell us what the person does. They just tell us that they have an office. And these gifts are more persons than they are abilities. So you may have a pastor, and the pastor may operate in his natural gift as an exhorter. He may operate in his gift as a teacher, but he's doing that in the capacity of a pastor. But you don't have to be a pastor in order to have the gift of teaching. You don't have to be a pastor to have the gift of exhortation. But if you are a pastor, it certainly would be helpful for you to have the gifts of teaching and the gift of exhortation. And so we assume, and certainly we can guarantee that every person in these offices is going to have at least one and probably more than one of those ministry gifts in operation. And it is certainly hoped that each of these individuals will have some of the supernatural gifts operating in their lives frequently, as often as possible. But these are the offices of the church, and I'll name them again. They're found in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11. We have the offices of apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher. And these are the official gifts. And as we can immediately see, they are very different from the supernatural gifts, because even though these may not be, they're permanent endowments, but they may not be permanent in the sense that your ministry can change over time. And this is the same thing with the ministry gifts, the last category. Your ministry can change over time. So you might start being a great helper, and then the Lord will graduate you and say, well, now you're going to have ruler skills. And then as you develop those ruler skills, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're a teacher teaching a Sunday school class. And then next thing you know, you do feel the call of God to be a pastor, and you start working in the ministry in terms of official ministry, and not in terms of lay ministry, but this becomes your calling in life. And so these gifts are gifts of office. So we have the 3 different categories: the supernatural gifts that do require a supernatural act of God. We have the ministry gifts, which are permanent endowments, and they require our effort. And then we have the official gifts, and these gifts are gifts of office, and we can normally associate these offices with pastors we see in our day, or leaders in some capacity. But there's 5 of those. And so we can see that these gifts are all very different in their categories, and we can understand them better once we understand the categories.